Hi guys, my name is Patrick, but you can call me 26. And what we're going to do today is we are going to talk about how you can measure the performance of your app when it comes to persisting data, particularly with regards to CoreData and SwiftData. So I'm going to show you how you can use the tools that you can use to measure the performance of your app when you're dealing with persistence, particularly with CoreData and SwiftData. So let me explain the app that we're going to do, right? So what this app is going to be is we're going to generate 100,000 random names for footballers, and then you're also going to generate random clubs for them, right? So we're going to write 100,000 names to SwiftData, and then we're also going to have the opportunity of deleting and also writing the updating, right? Updating already existing names, right? So in this case, each footballer has a name that is generated from a group of random names in an array, and also random names for the club, right? So what we could do is we could delete all the names. We could hit that, and that's going to delete. And for delete, we're not using the most efficient way to delete. We are deleting them one by one so that it can take time. If you wanted, you could just delete the entire model, right? So if you do that, that will be a lot faster. But what we want to do is the star of the show here is the instrumentation that is used to measure the writes to the disk, right? The writes to SwiftData, right? So that's why we're going to loop over them, and you're going to see the code in a bit. And if we hit this plus button, the one that is in the principal area, it's going to write all the 100,000, and you can see there's a bit of the buttons a bit faded out as it takes time, and then we write it, right? Now when you hit this pencil on the trading side, what it's going to do is it's going to generate new names for the football teams that they have, right? These names are generated randomly, right? So if we hit this, you're also going to take, it's going to take a bit of time, right? Now what we want to do is we want to measure the time. Like you can see, like the button is a bit grayed out because it's changing a bit, right? So you see in this case, Thiago Kimura, who sounds like a Brazilian Japanese player, plays for a team called Ashton Albion, and previously he was playing for some other team. Let's hit this. We'll see that the team will change to, okay. It takes a bit of time. Maple Creek Town, right? So it took significantly, or it looks like it took a bit longer to do it, right? So basically that's what you're going to do. And what we want to do is we want to measure, and the number of footballers we're going to create and teams is going to be 100,000. So we need a really chunky number because the iPhone is pretty fast and the simulator is pretty fast, so we need to create something like 100,000 of them so that we can actually measure. If you're only like writing 10 of them, you will not get any meaningful reading, right? So that's why we're writing and deleting such a large number. Before we get to today's business, you could have a look at my course. That is the e-commerce full stack application. And what we build is iStore. And iStore, we build the front end and the back end. And iStore does use SwiftData. We use SwiftData in persisting our cart. So whenever you close the app, we save the contents of what you want to get into a cart. And in this cart, which also has a map, you can pick the location, like so, and do that. And this is persisted using SwiftData. And also among our carts, we have favorites, right? So we have our favorites here, and you could save the favorites, and the favorites are products that you like that you would want to maybe go back and later on buy. And this also uses SwiftData to save our particular favorites, right? So we do that. And also on top of it, we figure out how we can work with the observable macro when you're dealing with SwiftData. So all these are projects that we actually implement in this application. If you'd like to see the complete project, have a look at the link in the description. If you're going to see the 26-hour project in its entirety plus the source code. If you would like to see the first 12 hours of the project, they're available on my page on this channel, right? So have a look at that. Now let's get to the business. Quickly go over the code. The code is going to be available on GitHub, right? So what this code is going to be is we're going to have we just have the various toolbar items with the buttons, right? And we could have a look at the model, and in the model we're going to see that how we create it is each footballer has a team and a name, and then we have a list of possible first names and a group of possible last names. And what we do is we just pick a random element for the first name, a random element for the last name, concatenate them, and then we do the same for a fictitious team, right? We get a random name for a location and the descriptor, and then we put them together, right? So we get something like Northwood United and Southfield City, right? So that's basically what we're going to do. So let's get to it. So what you're supposed to do first is come to Xcode, open developer tools, hit instruments, open instruments, and instruments you select data persistence, which is already selected in my case. I was doing this before, and you're going to see here that this template traces SwiftData and CoreData. So you could use it for either SwiftData or CoreData, whichever, either or both of them, right? And you're going to hit choose, right? So you're going to select that, and then you're going to come here and select data saves, right? Then make sure that your phone is selected, right? And the name of your app. In this case, the app is called Measuring Performance. My app is called Measuring Performance because that's what it does, right? So what you're going to do is we're going to hit the record button so that you can start recording what the app is doing, right? So we hit the record button and it's going to start running, and we come here to data saves and you're going to see nothing for now. And we come back to our app, and this is going to be the state of our app. I've already created the footballers. What we could do is we could delete the footballers. Now, if we delete it, because you have to write the delete to the database, you're going to, or to the disk, you are going to see something on the screen, right? And then it's going to give you the amount of time it has taken to actually write that, or rather, and remove the various footballers, right? So it has taken 603 milliseconds, 603.5 milliseconds, right? And you can see it here, this large chunk here. If we actually click on this, you see 603.5 milliseconds. So that's how long it has taken to write, to delete the footballers. And if you can look at the code, you will notice that when we come to deleting, right? Let's just look at the code quickly, right? So what we do here when we, where is the delete? This is the edit, right? This is the plus, this is the trash, this is the delete, right? So for the delete, we are looping through every single footballer and deleting them one by one to take as much time as possible. Instead of deleting them all at a go, like by deleting the entire entity in CoreData, right? What you're doing is we're looping through every single footballer, that is assuming that there are no footballers, so that it doesn't crash if you try to delete when they're not there. So what you want to do is we just want to delete all of them, but one at a time, right? For max, so that you can take as much time as possible so that you can actually see this in the instruments. Otherwise, it will be barely a blip, right? So for writing, the same thing. For writing, we write them one by one using a loop, right? And for editing, we do the same, right? Editing, actually, we just do this is for the writing, where we create 100,000 of them, right? And for editing, we also do the same. We loop through them one by one, right? So that is the code explained. And now let's actually create, because we can actually see them a bit better, right? So let's come here to the instruments and see this, and just create the users, right? So if we create, we're going to see a huge spike after a while. You're going to see the spike first, and then it's going to be shown on the screen, right? They're created on the disk first, and then they're shown, right? And then you're going to see the time it takes to create them, right? So it takes 645.17 milliseconds to create all our 100,000 footballers, and you can see it here, right? So if you click on this, you'll see this is 645.17 milliseconds, right? Now let's edit it. Editing usually takes, or updating in this case, usually takes a lot more time than it does to create them, right? So if we hit this, it's going to take almost a second, I believe, when I was testing it the first time. It's going to take a second to do that. Let's see if my timing is correct, or maybe it's faster now. Or maybe it was slower then. It actually takes 1.02 seconds, right? 1.02 seconds to actually edit every single footballer's football team, right? So here we are editing every single footballer's football team, right? So that's what we have done. It takes 1.02 seconds. And to deleting them is the fastest, right? So we delete and then we persist the changes, and that's what you're going to see. It's going to be slightly less than the time taken to write them, right? So if you give it some time, it's going to take deleted 474, right? So the fast delete now is a lot faster than this one, right? Let's create them and see that if the time is also going to be faster now. I'm thinking here it's because it's a cold start or something of the sort, right? So creating them now takes 632.97, and then there are a lot of things here, and then they just disappeared for some reason, right? So there's a lot of stuff that was written and then just disappeared, right? And updating, is it getting faster or slower? Let's see. Okay. So updating will take about a second or slightly more, right? Writing it on the disk will take a second, right? So it's 986.99 milliseconds. Get a bit faster, and deleting them is the fastest, right? So that's how you could write. You could gauge the number of writes, the time it takes to write entities to the disk using CoreData or SwiftData, right? So you can use this to compare, for example, if you wanted to know between Realm and CoreData which is faster, or you could even measure CoreData and SwiftData and find out which is faster. I think CoreData is closer to the metal, so CoreData will be faster, right? So that is how you could actually use instruments to measure the efficacy of operations when it comes to SwiftData and CoreData. Thank you for watching. Subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next video.